Today on Locked On Rockies, well, it was a series where the Rockies could have kind of shown us a little something more. Instead, the offense only flashes in one game. The Rockies can't back up Dakota Hudson, and Pittsburgh continues to dominate the Rockies at 20th and Blake.
So a hit
base is Gonzalez, perfectly executed by the Rockies, and no good breaking ball there. Out number one on mystery out there in right field.
It's going to go down as a hit.
Jacob Stallings.
3-2. McMahon will be moving.
Father, three boys will be on the mound.
Singles, 2 strikeouts for Dakota Hudson.
Just executing the pitches beautifully.
Today on the pod, we're going to talk, of course, recapping the Pirates series. There was obviously a game to like and a couple of things that were pretty good. But what we saw, again, is a team that's against a team that isn't dominant, against a team that's really starting to come together. I think the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to be a really interesting team to watch through the second half. But again, a test of not the best in the business, not the elite level teams, not a guaranteed for sure playoff team. The Rockies match up with a team that's trying to find their spot in the NL Central, and they come up short. Kind of very similar to how they did against the Cincinnati Reds. We'll talk about that and a couple of other interesting updates. We'll get some updates on Chris Bryant and German Marquez and the Athletic. Crazy enough, stop me. This might blow you away. The Rockies actually rank pretty high in a certain category, and we're going to talk about that as well coming up on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we dive into all the fun today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. So, man, I was going into this series, and our whole idea was, can the Rockies play 500 ball the rest of the way? That's what we started with, right? That's what we talked about. And I think you got your answer. I really do think when you break it down and you look at the last 3 series for the Rockies there, the Rockies have now lost 3 series in a row. They seem to come alive in one game, but the pulse is minimal in the others. The Cardinal series is a little bit different. The Rockies were in the Cardinal series for other games other than the finale. But it does seem like when the Rockies get to finales, and I believe I heard this, I don't remember exactly the stat, but the Rockies are well below 500 when it comes to series finishing games. Well, just take a look at how the series finales have gone for the Rockies here. 8-2 loss against the Pirates, 17-9 loss against the Twins, 5-1 loss against the Cardinals, 12-7 loss against the Reds, 4-0 loss against the Dodgers here. The Rockies' last series finale win. I'm not even talking winning a series. I'm talking winning the final game of a series is back in May 29th against the Guardians. It's been almost a month, a little bit more, so 12 days away. So it's been a few weeks since the Rockies have actually even won a finale game. My biggest concern with that is it just looks like the Rockies run out of gas every time by the end of the series, and they've paid for it dearly in the last two series. In the series and 2 series finales now, their last 2 games of series, the Rockies have been outscored by a score of 25-11, and that's just 2 games. The problem, it just shows you that when this team struggles, when things go bad for this team, when things get out of hand, the mountain seems too far to climb because this offense just simply cannot back you up enough. And the Rockies can't afford to let up 5 runs in an inning like they did in the 6th yesterday. And especially when you're looking at it, and the Rockies are just a head scratcher continues on offense. 9 hits, only 2 runs, and for most of the time, it took them a while to get going. It's not like they weren't getting blown away by the strikeout. They end up striking out 7 times. But in 2 now bullpen-ish games for the Pirates, they handle business. And that's the difference maker right there. The difference maker is this Pirates team is starting to roll and click and have things work for them on offense and start having things building up with their pitching. the Rockies continue to be completely inconsistent. They seem to be a different team every night. This is a team that scored 16 runs in this series against the Pirates. It's a team that also only scored 4 runs in their other 2 games. It's the streakiness. It's the lack of consistency. It's the lack of ability to take advantage of situations and teams like the Pirates. Again, Pirates are a good team. They're not a great team, but they're a good team and they're getting better. And they've handled the Rockies, especially at 20th and Blake. And this adds into everything. If you can't beat the Pirates, you're not going to beat the Dodgers. You're not going to beat the Giants. You're not going to beat the Orioles. You're not going to. I mean, you can even chalk that up into earlier in the season. You can't beat the Pirates. You can't beat the Nationals. You know, these type of things are intertwined because there's a lot of teams in the NL that are really on the same level. And look at the NL Central, which the Rockies have played a lot of so far this year, except for the leader of the Central, the Milwaukee Brewers. They've struggled against those teams, the Reds, the Cardinals, and the Pirates this year as teams that are middling below to right at 500 teams. When you don't beat those teams, when you get blown out in games by those teams, that shows you how far you still have to go. That's the big problem here. And there are things that I like here and there and this and that. And there are things, I mean, Hunter Goodman, incredible day. The big offensive day led by the young guys on what was that, Saturday? Awesome. Really, really great. I mean, that is a positive. That is something that's good to take away. But then you zoom it out a little bit more, right? And you look at what is it? What were you just looking at here? We were talking about the losing in the series, but let's see. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I'm sorry. The Rockies split the series with the Cardinals, so that doesn't count here. So let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 out of your last 5 series, the Rockies have lost. They have tied 1 series. They haven't won series since the Guardians at the end of May. There you go. I mean, it's the whole summary of what we've talked about this year. It's the lack of consistency. Here's a good stretch. Here's a good mix of games, and completely washed away because of the next stretch. Here's a week of good, 10 days of bad. Here's 2 days of good, 5 days of bad. The Rockies just can't put together good stretches, long enough good stretches, and that includes taking some losses. It just needs to be in between. It's not losing 4 out of your 5 next series. It's win a series, lose a series, win a series, lose a series, win a series, win a series, lose a series, lose a series. The Rockies don't have any type of pace like that. It is just like you kind of seen in the pace of the games where it's all right, 0-0, 0-0. All right, now the Rockies are down 1-0. Boom, 5th inning, they're down 6-0. The big inning and the long stretch of losing continues to plague the Colorado Rockies. And I got sidetracked here, but listen how good Pittsburgh has been against the Rockies at home in the past, on the road at the Rockies' home here in the past few years. In the 2010s, the Pirates are 21-12 at Coors Field, and in the 2020s, they're 6-6. That's a change from in the 2000s and the 1990s, where they were 15-23 in the 2000s and 12-20 in the 1990s. This is from mcube.net, by the way, a place that really breaks down a lot of stats. They last year they won all 3 games against Colorado in Coors Field. There's a couple of years where the Pirates struggled at Coors Field, but in 2019 they went 4-0. 2018 they went above 500. 2016 they went above 500. 2015 the Pirates went above 500, or where it went undefeated at Coors Field. There's so many instances where you're looking at there and you're like, what the heck? The Pirates are a team that have had the Rockies number. And overall, in the Pirates' history against the Rockies at Coors Field, they're 54-61. I don't think a lot of teams get to have that type of performance or that type of rep outside of maybe the NL West than Pittsburgh there. That's pretty impressive. A 47% win percentage there against the Rockies in a dreaded environment. So that's my main takeaways from this game. It's again, what are the differences between how can the Rockies avoid the bottom 5 of baseball power rankings? You got to beat teams like the Pirates. You got to beat teams like the Cardinals. You got to beat teams like the Reds. You got to beat these teams in the Central and these other teams that are middling to bad in order to get yourself a seat at the table, in order to make it so that you got a shot at not only making the playoffs, but being confident in your ability to take any time that you step on the field, we can beat you. And I don't think the Rockies are rocking with that mentality right now. And maybe, not to say that they got to have that because of where they're at and their competitors. I mean, they know the realities of their situation. But it's another benchmark. It's another moment where the Rockies had an opportunity to shine, to impress, to do something, and they didn't. Outside of Saturday's game. Saturday's game gives you a little bit of just that hope, right? Gives you a little bit of what the people call it the copium, right? To make you feel a little bit better. And it shrouds the fact that the Rockies offense was abysmal in 2 out of those 3 games at home and continued to not be able to back up Dakota Hudson. Dakota Hudson's got to be one of the most frustrated pitchers in the Rockies rotation. Got to be. Even, was he knocking socks off last night? No, but he certainly had an opportunity. He was keeping the Rockies in that game and could have gotten out of the big inning before it started if baseball didn't hit off his glove and ricochet the wrong way. So a little bit of bad luck, sure. But again, I just think that the Rockies' talent level, they weren't up to snuff. They have not been, the Rockies have not played good enough baseball against mediocre teams. That's my big key takeaway there. A couple of updates on some big injuries here for the Colorado Rockies. Let's talk about that coming up next here in today's episode of Locked On Rockies.
Here's the hitter.
Bouncing ball headed up the middle. A base hit. This will score 2. Big Tree delivers a big hit up the middle to bring home Cruz. Now he gets Sawinski 2-2 again. Swing and a miss. He got him with a changeup. So after 2 singles, 2 strikeouts for Dakota Hudson.
Just executing the pitch.
Delay. Into right center field for Jason Delay. Gets it down all the way to the wall. Jason Delay, a bases clearing double. How about that? Delay wasting no time.
Cruz.
There's a drive to right center field, a line drive, and it should hop the wall. Kick away.
Tellez with the infield in now for the Rockies.
And this ball in the air to left field, just enough over the head of the drawn and infield. It's going to be a 2-run single for Rowdy Tellez. Rowdy putting on the route now. It is 8-0. 1 out. Nolan Jones, who has 2 of the Rockies' hits today. 1-2 again is cued. Fair inside the left field line. They're going to send Stallings, and just don't have anybody throwing yet. They still have a 6-run.
All right, the Rockies got some injury updates on 2 big names this weekend, and German Marquez makes an appearance with the Fresno Grizzlies. Yes, that is an official German Marquez on the field pitching baseballs in a competitive setting. Now, the flip side of that is it wasn't the best, but at the same time, you kind of put in the context of the German's journey, where he's at, and the fact that this is a rehab start. He's rehabilitating himself. He's getting himself back in action. He's getting himself back to game ready. Let's see here. I'm gonna see. Blake Street Banner was here we go. It was German Marquez's final stat lines: 2.1 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, 2 home runs, and they say still needs to get back in the groove of pitching. That's my main takeaway there, right? Guys have pitched in probably over a year at this point, still recovering. And it just opens up an interesting avenue now that the return of German Marquez is on the horizon for the Colorado Rockies. I'm still going to say it's a month and some change out. I'm going to say All-Star break after the All-Star break. At the beginning, probably. I mean, it'll see how he feels and it'll see how the rehab goes. But German Marquez returning for the Rockies could really change things. It's going to cause the Rockies to make an adjustment within the rotation, which means Ryan Feltner and Dakota Hudson is going to be facing a situation in which they aren't going to be in the rotation for the remainder of the season, and it's going to be interesting to see where the Rockies go with that. Ryan Feltner, of course, is a young guy trying to figure it out and continuing to navigate things and has shown some flashes of possibility, but the issues at home, the issues at 20th and Blake, the issues are a real problem for the Rockies pitcher there, the 27-year-old. 75 innings pitched this year, 1.45 whip, 67 strikeouts, and an ERA of 5.71 for Feltner. And you compare that there now to Dakota Hudson, who will be looking at, again, someone that's been playing ball and been doing the thing for a bit, and again, not blowing the socks off of folks, but been a little bit unlucky when it comes to record-wise and support from his team. 2-9 record this year for Hudson, 4.89 ERA, 73 innings pitched, 41 strikeouts, and a whip of 1.47. So realistically, these are two pitchers that are pretty darn similar, but I think if my gut tells me, because Hudson's only 2 years older than Feltner, they're both youngish guys. Feltner is younger in terms of career-wise. Hudson's been pitching since 2018 in the bigs, but the Rockies are going to have to make a choice between those guys. And can one of those guys help out in the bullpen? Sure. Is the bullpen exactly where they want to be? I'm not necessarily sure that's the case. But the possibility of German Marquez coming back means that this rotation gets deeper, means that this rotation is going to get more strikeout off or defense, which I'm really hoping for, mixed with this defense backing him up. We just have to hope that we can get German healthy, get German where he needs to be, and get himself major league ready for the second half of the season as he approaches what's going to be a really interesting next stretch of the career. I think the Rockies are at this point going to play out, let's see, I believe German is under contract. I believe next year is his last year under contract since that extension. So that will be, yeah, he is under contract this year and next year, and he is an unrestricted free agent in 2026. Really, he is going to be really interesting to watch. Because it's going to be, will the Rockies try to extend? Will the Rockies try to move on? Will the Rockies try to trade him? They're not going to. They need this half of the year and the first half of next year before I think you can really be confident and comfortable in trading German and for German to be back to his normal self. I mean, he needs time. He needs time to be able to rehab, and he needs time to be able to come back. And we know sometimes he's a little bit of a slow starter. We'll see if the weather and starting at this point in the season is a little bit different for him. But German Marquez pitching during rehab starts, getting a little shelled and showing a little bit of work still needed to be done, but officially on the field and throwing in a major league environment there, in a professional environment in the minors, I guess, in a minor league environment, not a major league environment, but you get the point. And then in more injury news for the Rockies, Chris Bryant is eligible to return from the IL, but he's got a new one. He's got a new issue, and he's got no timetable to return. So, are you surprised? Are you? Here we go. Let's see. From Patrick Lyons here. Chris Bryant is eligible to come off the 10-day IL for a rib contusion, but now he has been diagnosed with an oblique strain following a recent MRI. There is zero timetable for his return. Tough questions have to start being asked about Chris Bryant. Plain and simple. There are teams that are moving on from bad contracts. There are teams that are eating contracts. There are teams that are doing this. Chris Bryant seems like a wonderful guy. Chris Bryant seems like a nice guy. Chris Bryant is, but we have run on this treadmill before. This is now another stint that is going to take a month. Probably, right? No timetable. When we've heard that before, that's at least a month. I don't think the Rockies do it. I really don't. But Purple Road just posted, we'll dive into this if I got time this week. Purple Road just today posted about making a tough decision when it comes to Chris Bryant. because they're facing it. It's not that they have to think about it coming down the corner. It is face first. The Chris Bryant contract issues. The Chris Bryant ripple effect. The issues facing the Rockies with Chris Bryant are only mounting. You have to start making decisions. And here's the deal. Chris Bryant can't come back and then it says, bye, Tolia. Tolia is too impactful on your lineup right now. And Montero still needs to be given the chance. Those are the two guys I want playing first base. If Chris Bryant comes back, he is a DH. That is it. No first base, no right field. He just is a DH and works on the hitting. Because you're already going to play Charlie in right, so there you go. You'll just do the flip flop. Rockies just need to get Chris Bryant on the field, and that ain't going to happen. That decision, the big decisions of KB, still loom. All right, let's talk about something where the Rockies ranked really high, surprisingly high. I thought, at least. Let's do that coming up in segment number 3.
52 pitches.
The Pirates are going to ask for a review.
Well, if he does come off the bag and he is ruled safe, the run scored, the Rockies appeal.
I mean, that thing just takes off like a rocket.
Cruz and Gonzalez.
So The Athletic, right? You know, you don't usually do a lot of coverage of the Rockies nowadays. The Athletic, since they changed things up, and the New York Times bottom shut down their local coverages of a lot of teams. But here's something crazy. Here's something I did not expect to see. The Athletic ranked all the City Connect uniforms. And where do you think the Rockies are? Bottom half? Top half? Top 10? Spoiler alert, folks. They were voted the #1 City Connect in all of baseball. Wild, right? I mean, and it's even the softball jersey is even mentioned here by let's see, who's it? Nesbitt, I think. Yeah, Nesbitt, one of the writers here. I don't want an alternate uniform that feels like it was drawn up by a dozen creatives in a conference room. I want one that feels like it came from the days when everyone sent in designs to the local newspaper, and a 6th grader would win with something garish and unreasonable and perfect. That's what this is. A beer league softball in the big leagues. They have grown on me. The hat still hasn't. I still don't love the logo. It's especially just seeped in that. Oh, we want it to be like a sticker you buy. I think personally. But the shirts themselves, and someone points this out too here. And I'm going to agree. Let's see who adds it. Kepner, I think, says this. Nope, not Kepner. Who adds it? Rosenkrantz. Rosenkrantz says the hat looks like it was made by Patagonia, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I like them better with the green pants, which is probably an unpopular opinion. Green is underused in baseball, so it's nice to see it. I agree. I think the green pants are cool. I thought it was cool. I thought the green with the purple line was cool. I think a purple alternate of these would still be cool. But I was scrolling through this, right, and I was like, where are the Rockies? Where are the Rockies in this piece? You know, because I don't know if like best in baseball, but it is interesting when you look at a lot of these City Connects, right? The Rockies did something drastically different, which is cool, which is something you really can appreciate. Miami's came in at #2. They did something really different, at least with their colors and things. The other ones are kind of like, I like Atlanta's, but it's still kind of in the spirit of those old Atlanta jerseys that we know. I know that's part of the point. I love the cherry blossoms there of Washington. I like it, but the text is a little weird, just kind of blocky. There's a lot of interest. And San Diego's came in at #5. I mean, San Diego's might be my favorite. I think the City Connect of San Diego, that fits everything I think the San Diego vibe would be with a City Connect jersey. They are really, really cool. Because yeah, like I said, and Seattle's comes in here. Seattle's simple, clean, but taps in a little bit to their history as well. But a lot of these, you know, with some of them, they didn't do too much different. The White Sox, there's a lot of really good ones. So I'm really surprised that here by the Athletic that out of all of them, the Rockies came out on top with the best City Connects. I mean, I wish the Rockies had a better record in them because, man, it does seem like they've been cursed for most of the time that they were playing. At least the first year they were winning. They weren't doing nothing. But in case you're curious, the lowest rated. How many lists have you ever seen this happen, folks? The Dodgers rated last place, and the Rockies rated first place. You don't see that on a lot of lists, I would say. But yeah, the Dodgers, which it just does look like a Dodgers uniform that says Los Dodgers instead of Los Angeles or whatever it's thrown on Dodgers face, whatever. But so it's so fascinating stuff. So let me know in the comments. Do you think the Rockies have the best City Connect in all of baseball? You can also see the full rankings and everything on the Athletics website. So go check it out. Folks, Rockies baseball coming your way tonight here. They take on the dreaded Dodgers. Speaking of those Dodgers in their City Connect uniforms, we'll be seeing them in action tonight. Well, not City Connect, but we'll be seeing the Dodgers in action here for 4 games against the Rockies here this week. We'll be breaking down the action here on Locked On Rockies, so be sure to subscribe and make sure that you are staying tuned in, because that is going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. Thank you for tuning into the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. For your second listen, go check out Locked On MLB. And if you need more Colorado sports coverage, Locked On Broncos, Locked On Avalanche, Locked On Nuggets, and Locked On Buffs.